What's up everybody, it's Eternal with another Raid Shadow Legend video. Today I'm going to be doing a champion guide on Steelskull, who you can see right here, running through Dragon right now. He's a pretty fantastic champion, but his usability in dungeons I'm finding is a little bit limited and sort of subject to very certain team setups. So here's a really good example where I've got kind of a defense setup here, and I'm kind of just trying to plow through really, so see how this one goes. But in the meantime, whilst we're waiting for this run to finish, so Steelskull, Mr. Big Man, he is a skinwalker, he is a spirit champion, and he's a pretty good champion too. I do like him. So I'm going to go over his skills. I've actually fully booked mine, so hopefully that gives you some idea of how good he can be. So his A1, he attacks 2 times and he has a chance to place the big poison. You want to book this because the 10% chance is really low. Even at 25% chance, that's still low. He has a cleanse on his A2. You really want to book this just for the cooldown, really strong. So it's a cleanse and a heal. 40% is nothing to sniff at. And then he's got his protection. Now this is a really strong ability. It's a 3-turn defensive cooldown. So it starts off on 4, you book it, goes down to 3. So it increases defense of all allies for 2 turns, and then it heals them by 20% of their max HP. So this is really strong. He's a very strong support character for this reason. And with the introduction of faction crypts, he got a faction crypt aura. 27% defense is okay, but if you've got anything better for skinwalkers, then you know that's good. But defense auras generally are good, so I could see him being used as a lead in faction wars. Okay, so now we've gone over his skills. We know that he's a good candidate for books. He really benefits, and in fact, if he's not booked, he's going to underperform quite a lot. You know, his A1 isn't going to be landed as poisons. You've got the cooldown on both of these really strong abilities, and he takes, is that 11 books? 5, 8, 11. So 11 books is okay. He's not super intensive, and he really is worth it. So I would highly recommend booking Steelskull. He's a fantastic character. Now let's go into the artifacts that I'm using on him currently. Now I have Steelskull set up for Clan Boss. He's a really strong Clan Boss character. He's a great addition. He's bringing buffs. He's got a cleanse. He's just kind of an all-round nice support for Clan Boss, particularly if you're maybe on Nightmare. Maybe even some usability on Ultimate Nightmare too, so that's really nice. So I have him set up in lifesteal gear, and I'll just go through the gears quickly so you can see the sort of stats that I'm rocking. So I'm going for a lot of accuracy to land the poison on his A1. If I get that 25% chance roll. I'm going for accuracy. I popped a 2-piece speed set on him just to try and boost his speed. Speed is, basically translates to more damage, and also in dungeons it translates to survivability. You also want a really good amount of defense on him. His damage is based off attack, but he's only got 1 attack, and we're not bringing him in for the damage he does with this, but the poison. That is not based off attack or anything like that. It is a fixed amount, so we don't need to worry about that. I put lifesteal gear on him because the team that I'm running calls for lifesteal gear. I don't have like a Bad L or a dedicated AoE healer or anything like that for Clan Boss, so I put him in defense gloves, defense chest, speed boots. If your gear is quite godly, you could also put him in defense % boots. That would be fine. He does have kind of low defense, so you're actually going to benefit from putting defense accessories on him. So ring, amulet, and then I've actually put an accuracy banner to get a reasonable amount of accuracy there. Generally on a banner you're looking for speed, defense, those kind of stats. Speed on a banner is really strong. You can actually get quite a lot if you're lucky. Like you can see here, this could potentially have rolled another 2 on speed, but obviously got the flat defense. And then substats on the other pieces, I picked up a bit of crit damage, defense, accuracy, just kind of trying to boost his survivability, so a little bit of HP there. Speed, accuracy, defense, crit. So in terms of gear, not too bad. It's got quite a lot of crit on his gloves actually. But I'm not really building it. I didn't intend. So if I take a look at his overall stats, his defense is actually quite low. I would like to see him sitting up about 4,000, and that would be achievable through rings and the amulet here. And then, of course, popping 6-star lifesteal gear or 6-star gear here. and maybe defense boots if everything else had, you know, all the substats here had speed on, but unfortunately that's not the case, so I think this is a lot more realistic in terms of gearing for the majority of players. So defense gloves, defense chest, speed boots, you know, nice shield, helmet, and, you know, picking up accuracy and those kind of stats to boost his damage and the chances of the poison landing. Okay, so I talked loads about artifacts there. So, like I said, I've got him in lifesteal and speed. That I'd probably recommend that unless you've got like a Battle Kazar and you don't need a healer. And, you know, if you've got a Battle Kazar, let's be honest, you probably aren't going to run Steelskull, but, you know, if you need that defense buff, sure. Now, whoop. So you can see, picked up War Master. He has a 2-hit A1, so you're going to be doing, you know, his A1. Methodical is quite good because his only damage skill is his A1, so you can use Methodical. I'm just going to pop myself back there. Whoop. So Methodical has nice synergy. War Master, great for Clan Boss, and then just kind of built around Clan Boss. I went for Life Drinker. You could go for Single Out. It's whatever works for you. But it's really his Master Hexer and Lasting Gifts that are going to help with improving kind of how useful he is. So you're able to increase the duration of his defense up, which is really strong. The Lasting Gifts on him is fantastic. Master Hexer can potentially put those poisons on a 3-turn. Really, really nice. And then I've just kind of gone for Law of Steel, Cycle of Magic. I've got some, you know, if you're running him in a counter team, you will not want to be running these turn meter boosts here if you're speed tuned. So bear that in mind. You may need to rejig and maybe pick up Swarm, Smiter, and then you could come down to Cycle of Magic. And you could either increase the amount of healing and value of shield buffs placed by this champion. You've got a little bit of room to play there, but like I say, you don't want the turn meter boost if you've got a speed tuned team. So just bear that in mind. So masteries, skills and artifacts are all done. I've talked a little bit about where I use him, Clan Boss mainly, but let's jump back into some dungeons and we can see how he actually performs there. Okay, so now that you have seen his gears, his masteries, his gear, kind of how I've got him set up at the moment, this is how he kind of works in dungeons. Now, in a dungeon, he's going to be a more supporty kind of character. Like I mentioned before, you know, you're using that accuracy to land those poisons, etc. He doesn't really do a lot. That's my main issue in dungeons. He is a support character. You know, he's there for the heal, he's there for the buff. I just feel like there are better options in dungeons. But like this team here, you know, it's a fairly accessible team. I am using Tormin in this one. This is a slow defensive run, you know, we're looking at 3 minutes here. But I'm just using kind of heals, defense-based characters, and I've thrown a Cold Heart in, and she seemed to live, so, you know, why not, right? But yeah, so obviously Tormin being a fusion that we had, Cold Heart fairly accessible, and then a few epics here. So like I said, time, nothing fantastic in Dragon, but he's there very much as a, you know, increasing defense, healing, removing debuffs, things like that. So in Dragon, his usability there is some usability, but he's not going to be on a speed team. It's not really what he's for, and he's actually off affinity as well for 20, so a little bit more difficult there. Okay, so we've seen him in Dragons. Let's give him a try. Where should we try him? Fire Knights? I don't know how this is going to go, okay. He does have the affinity advantage, and he does have a 2-hit A1, but I really struggle with Fire Knights. So I've been running a double revive. Can I get away with... I kind of need the Cold Hearts. This is going to hurt, alright. This is not going to go well. Disclaimer. So, as we can see here, this is a really slow run. Cold Hearts are kind of dying. I could definitely change the team up for something that maybe Steelskull would actually work in. So, what I'll do is see how this run goes, see how long this takes, have a little bit of a play. Because he's bringing, you know, a little bit of damage from poisons, an AoE, heal, and defense up, but Cold Heart's very squishy, and this type of team, this is a really good example of make sure there's synergy in your team. Team synergy is more important than, you know, if you take it's like a recipe, right? You take one element out of a recipe and suddenly it's not the same. And that's very much like raid and team building. You have to have the right champions and the right synergy for the dish to work well, as it were. In this case, just, you know, to be able to beat the stage at a faster pace. It's all about team building. This game is a team building gacha, and as we can see here, Steelskull isn't really doing a whole lot. I could happily take him out and this team would perform at a similar sort of level. But I think this team should do it, because I've still got the double revive, which is kind of OP. So yeah, Steelskull not really doing anything here, to be honest with you. Okay, so finally at the boss of, 3 minutes 40. Like I said, this team will do it. It's just quite slow. But yeah, like I said, this will work just because of the other characters. But Steelskull is bringing a little bit of damage, a defense up. Not really the place that he shines in my opinion. I am going to show you where he does shine, and that's in Clan Boss. So what I'm going to do is, I'll just throw a team together on Brutal, I guess. Nightmare's basically down, someone else has got to key that, so Brutal's fine. I can throw another hit on here, and I'm going to change the team up. So I'm going to drop out Whisper. So this is still a speed team, but focus more on poisons. The damage is probably going to drop quite a bit here. That's fine. He should increase the survivability a little bit. We'll see how this goes. And what I'll do is I'll just auto it. It's on Spirit Affinity, so I will be slowed. Razin's going to be beaten on a little bit there. So on the plus side, Tyrell's strong affinity here, so he's going to do a really good job of placing his defense down. Attack down, and everybody else is going to do pretty well, bar Razin, who is quite high defense, and then you've got Steelskull placing the increased defense, so he's going to hit even harder. It's just there's a nice mesh here. I might take it off auto a little bit because Steelskull's AI isn't fantastic for cleansing the stun, so I might occasionally, if I see a character that can be cleansed when the clan boss stuns, might just take that off auto and go ahead and cleanse that. Okay, so starting to get towards the end of this fight, having a few people drop now. Razin is using his bog down on auto, so I've been kind of, when it comes around to Razin, having to manual. So Razin unfortunately still has a lot of issues. So if I pop this on auto now, bog down. So that's a pain. That's just an AI thing. There's not really anything you can do apart from just select his ability. I haven't got Razin book, so it is on a 7 turn, but yeah, just one of those annoying things. But I'll just let this auto now. This is very close. The increased defense there, you can see, actually kept me alive. Without that, I think my team would have gone down then. You might see them go down. So the clan boss has got an increased attack, and you'll see pretty much everybody die there. So that increased defense is really strong. Yeah, we'll kind of see how the damage is and how it went there. I think it went reasonable, but I'm not quite sure if it was a 1 key or not. But yeah, we'll see. Bearing in mind this is on Brutal, so this isn't too hard, but this sort of team can perform on Nightmare 2. But like I said, Steelskull works very well with a counter-attack setup. So okay, so 18 million damage basically, and Steelskull brought a decent amount there. So you can see that even though his poisons are on 25% chance to land, he's still bringing a considerable amount of damage. And I know this is Brutal, so it's not tippity top, or even, it's kind of halfway through, right, in terms of difficulty. But this is like a speed team here. This isn't even a counter-attack setup. But just want to highlight that Steelskull can bring a lot of damage to Clan Boss. Yeah, I would say, generally speaking, Steelskull is going to be a Clan Boss character. He does have some usability in dungeons, but it's not really his strong point. You might be able to get him to work in an Ice Golem team. Is not affinity weak. You could run him in something like this, but really, this is just it's just another layer of defense. So I'll pop this on, but honestly, this is kind of a filler spot. I've got Miscreated Monster, Venus Arbiter, Blind Seer. It's just, I hate Ice Golem. Okay, I hate it. but with the increased defense, it's just another layer on the boss that can potentially help to, you know, keep you alive. And the cleanse being quite nice too with freeze, so you know, there's definitely some potential for him in Ice Golem. So now at the boss, this is kind of where Steelskull's going to be useful to some degree. So you're going to be placing the poisons on the boss, which is quite nice actually. He's going to be healing, increasing defense, so he definitely has some usability in Ice Golem with the right team setup. You've just got to make sure that synergy is right and everything else falls into place. But Steelskull's percentage haste based heal is actually really great with somebody like a miscreated monster who has a lot of health, you know, kind of 80,000 HP almost. So just look at all these buffs, like there's so many layers, like increased attack, ally protect, shield, increased defense. Like this is the sort of stuff that you need to get through Ice Golem. Well, it's one way to do it. You can kind of go the slowy, tankier route. Like this isn't a fast run, however, it's going to be pretty reliable. Like your chance of failing is going to be low, but like I've said, you've got 3 legendaries in here, but I guess Ice Golem 20 is no joke, right? Okay, so on that final stretch now on the Ice Golem, it's like a 6-minute run. Definitely my weakest dungeon. I really need to improve there, but it's just that slow kind of turtle in the hair. You know, don't rush it because you're gonna lose. You know, you do too much damage and wham, you end up pretty dead. So that's kind of the slow, tankier route. That was about a 6-minute run. That's Steelskull anyway. Let's kind of give you a general overview of him. He has some usability in dungeons. He's definitely a clan boss character, in my opinion. Very, very useful there, but with his AoE heal and his increased defense, he does definitely have that place in some dungeons. So he is an option, but maybe not the strongest. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been useful to you. I hope you've learned something. So yeah, thumbs up if that was any good. And if there's any other champions you'd like to see guides on, drop a comment below. I'll try and go through them and show you where I use them, where they can be used, how I've kind of got them geared, that sort of thing. So I will see you all in the next one anyway.